Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to SOMA. Last episode, we actually managed to get in touch with somebody who gave us a bit of direction and told us where to go, which is very nice. Shocking to think that there's actually anybody around here besides us, but thank God that there is. So we powered this console on, we had a chat with her, and she told us to go to the comm room. And so that is where we were headed. I didn't make any progress after that, so let's head out this door here. We turned on all of the turbines and we now have power in this area. And if we want to, we can read this little screen here, which doesn't really tell us a whole lot. I think the only really kind of interesting thing is that it looks like the power had been off for about 143 days, which is a long time. That's like a little under half a year, I think. And so it makes me wonder how the other person we were talking to is managing, because this place is really big, and I would assume that this area is responsible for powering kind of all the other areas around it. Maybe not. Maybe that's not the case, but in any case, I guess we're gonna have to see as we move forward, and hopefully there's some other people around that can maybe help us a little bit. As we move on here, you can do one of two things. You can quickly and quietly climb down the ladder, or if you want to be a little bit more ballsy and have a bit more fun, you can fall off this ramp onto your butt. But if you do that, you'll want to be really careful, because there is a monster down here. It's our first monster of the game. He'll actually come out from that little room there. We can lean in and just kind of have a really good look at him. He's kind of like a big, glowing, robotic turtle kind of thing. And so he's gonna kind of come over here to check out the noise. And my best advice that I can give anybody who's kind of playing this and is looking to get around the monsters is to stay low. Staying crouched will allow you to stay quiet, and hide behind items if you can. You can also throw items to make noise and distract monsters, and you can also hide in the shadows, which can be really, really helpful. So now that he's kind of around the corner, what I'm going to do is come over to this valve. You have to do this in order to advance on. We're going to rotate that valve, and once that's rotated, we're going to very quickly run up the staircase, pull that lever, and that's going to allow us to move forward. So very, very easy. Just kind of let the guy get a bit of distance away before you try that, and you shouldn't have any problems. Even if you're not playing in safe mode, that guy's not too tough to deal with. And once we've done that, there's a couple of other things for us to look at here. Oh. There's another robot down there. I guess we'll have to go and check that out in just a moment. There's a map here that we can look at. And it looks like we are in Control Station B currently. So that's kind of a map of the entire area. If we want to just have a quick look at that. And there's some more of these drawings on the ground. Amy and Carl, Pathos buddies. So we've heard these names a couple of times, and I think we've seen similar drawings to these when we were in that underwater area. And this is probably Amy's sketchbook. I have to say, Amy's a very good artist. I think I commented on that earlier, but I like her sketches. They're very well done. I don't know where she is, though. It seems like that robot was calling her name, so maybe we'll find her, too. Or maybe that's who we were talking to earlier. I don't know. These computer terminals are lit up, but it looks like we need some login information. Lockdown process initiated. Check terminal for details. So without a login ID, I don't think we're going to have much luck getting in there. Alright. Up these stairs is the comm center that we need to get to. And of course, it wouldn't be just that easy. and we're not able to actually open that just yet. But we're on the right track. In this workshop area, you can examine this robot if you'd like, but there's actually another thing that you can interact with that gives you the exact same piece of dialogue. So it's kind of interesting because it doesn't really happen that often where two different pieces will give you the same information. So I'm going to wait and examine the other thing that we find a little bit later. But aside from that robot, it doesn't really look like there's a whole lot in here. So I'm going to close that door. And before I head down that hallway, I guess I should probably go and talk to the robot here. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
What are you?
Are you blind? It's me, Carl Semke. Wrangler? Any of this sound familiar to you?
No, actually.
Well, thanks for being so helpful. It's not like I'm knocked out on the floor or anything.
Are you human?
Shit, did my body give it away? I try hard staying a mystery. Yeah, I'm human. Are you?
My name is Simon. Do you know anything about this place?
Oh, you knew. That makes this slightly less weird. Look, I'm obviously hurt. If you see anyone else around, just tell them where I am.
Ooh, well this is extremely awkward. I don't know how to break this to you, Carl.
So, where are you exactly?
Are you for real? I'm right here. See me waiting? Look at my hands. Hey, buddy.
Okay. I'm just gonna be. I'm not seeing it. I see a machine, a robot talking.
What the hell are you looking at? I'm here. See?
Okay. I just didn't expect you to look like that.
You're really hung up on appearances, you know that?
Has this robot just become really sentient and self-aware? I don't know what's going on.
What's wrong with your everything? Did you go diving in sewage or something?
Well, I can't see myself, but maybe we should hold up a mirror to one another. I can look at myself and you can look at yourself. Alright, well there's not anything that we can really do for Carl at the moment. So I'm gonna come back to you, buddy. And I'm gonna keep going down the hallway. And there's a corpse on the floor.
Oh god, he's dead? He's dead.
Yes, Simon, he's dead. Thank you. Wow, you're so good at this obvious statement thing. And, yeah, if we look at this ID, this is Carl. The robot Carl is an imposter. This is the actual Carl. So he was actually a human at one time, but he's dead now. And it's important to look at his card so that we can get his ID number for that computer. And you'll also want to interact with his body here.
Did you get the final backup turbos going?
Everything is wired evenly. We've hedged our bets as much as we possibly can.
So that's it? Enough power to run Pathos 2 until the next apocalypse. We're ready to go.
I really hope we didn't mess anything up. I don't want to have to come back here again.
Relax, it's over. We're going to Theta.
Maybe we should seal more blocks. I don't trust the helpers to let this place run in peace.
We've sealed everything. Everything from the barracks to the comm center. If anyone ever sets their foot here again, they're going to have a hell of a time getting around.
Oh boy. So it seems like our good buddy Carl here was attacked and killed by something or someone. It sounded almost animalistic in the recording. It sounded not entirely human. So my guess is that he was working with Amy and they were setting up the power to power the rest of the area, whatever this underwater area is, because there's more pods that we'll be going to. So I guess this is kind of like the center of all the power. So they were powering it up and they were getting ready to go, but he didn't quite make it, which is really unfortunate. I'm not sure about his friend Amy. I don't think that we can find her corpse here, and I don't think it's ever stated whatever happened to her. Maybe we'll have a look out and see if we can find any trace of her, or we can find any more data or anything like that as we go along. Even though you can interact with this door and try and open it, it doesn't do anything. So really, the only thing we can do is go back to that terminal and put in Carl's ID number. Epsilon, yeah, so it does say here, confirmed, powering all of Pathos 2. So I guess Pathos 2 would be like the area that we're in, the group of work sites is what I'm going to call them. World's largest geothermal plant, natural gas refinery, and construct factory. So that's probably also why we've been seeing so many robots around, is, you know, if this is the place where they make all the robots, that would make sense. So what was his ID again? Was it 0722? Something like that. Yeah, 0722. Alright, let's go put that into the computer and see what happens, where that gets us. Sorry, Carl. I don't know what happened to you, but I also don't know why your brain or your consciousness is in a robot. It's kind of freaking me out. So we can read an email here. It looks like a draft. He didn't even have a chance to send it. Power production has been secured. We've sealed off the factories to keep the plant running. All other systems have been turned off. If anyone ever has to return, know that the power flow regulator is hanging on by a thread. If we flip the switch, it's probably a no turning back situation. Well, and we can't even send the email. I don't really see what the point of that would be. So we can have a look at the staff in this area in Epsilon. So we had a dispatcher, a chief factor, we had an engineer, we had the field service technicians. So Amy, Gavin, and Louise. And we had wranglers. So it looks like, from the chart that we can see, it looks like Carl and Amy were the only two that got left behind. All the other staff have been relocated. So we might be able to come across these other people in our travels. And if we have a look at the power manager, we're able to mess around with some of the power and open up some of these doors. So if we turn on the storage, we can go into this room here. And the only real interesting thing of note is this thing on the table here, which is basically talking about this black box implant, which comes into play throughout the game. And it's actually kind of come into play already, and I'll explain that in just a moment. The black box is a precision instrument designed to observe your overall condition. It measures a wide range of data from body temperature to brainwave activity. This information is constantly relayed to Pathos 2's Warden unit, the WOW, so the station can provide you the appropriate climate for every situation. For optimum performance, please follow the auto-injector instructions carefully to make sure the implant is properly applied. That's a really bizarre thought, to just think that they all have this little mini computer in their brain. So that's kind of an important explanation, and we're going to learn a little bit more about those black boxes a little bit later. And we can see the little implant here, which is pretty cool, but we can't do anything with it. We can't insert our own little black box ourselves. But other than that, there's really nothing in here. It's just a little bit of additional information for later on. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to close that door. And there's only a couple of doors that we can actually open. So we can open up flow control, or we could try to open up the comm center. But the problem is, the comm center requires a large amount of power, which we do not have. So we have one of two options. We can go into flow control and turn off the power there, or we can come over to where our good buddy Mr. Carl was hanging out, and we can throw this switch. Now, throwing this switch isn't going to make you feel very good because Carl's robot body here is going to cry out in agonizing pain. Whether or not robots feel pain, I don't know, but it doesn't make you feel very good. Either way, that's kind of the quick and easy solution, is just to throw that switch, come back up the stairs, and then you can interact with the comm center and be on your merry little way. But I think just for the sake of being nice, we will go over to the flow control door, which we have opened, and we can turn off the power here. We'll read this note here. We strained the system. If you pull the lever, there's no turning back. Make sure you want it badly enough. Well, I do. I absolutely have nowhere else to go, so here we go. We're going to throw that switch, and now we are going to try to get into the comm center. Now the problem is our friend is going to come back, our little robot friend, from the floor below, and he's going to patrol the area. So it is a lot easier to get back to the main computer and the switchboard if you throw it at the other switch. But it's manageable to do it from this angle as well. So I'm just going to keep an eye and an ear out for him. I might not have much of a choice but to just run for it. Because now that the power is on, the issue is that we also need to turn on the power on the computer. I was gonna try and lock him in there, but I don't think that would work. So while he's busy hanging out in that room, I'm going to turn off the power to flow control, turn on the power to the comm center, and I'm going to very quickly run up the stairs. And you'll notice, just if I can a quick glance there through the window, that Carl has been turned off. But he's been turned off humanely. There's no screaming or shouting or anything like that. He just goes to sleep, basically. And same thing with the room downstairs. When you get up to this room, you'll want to make absolutely sure that you throw that switch to close that gate. Otherwise, that monster is going to come up here and cause you a lot of grief. Oh, okay, well, we made it to the comm center. And so we're going to have a look in this area in the next video, and we'll try and get in contact with that person that we were talking to a little bit earlier. I'm going to stop it here just because we are going to be listening and seeing some cutscenes, and I don't want to make the video go on for too long. So thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.